Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, Hennither Bianca Gantz. Thank you so much for joining me once again. So today I have a quick nugget for my HRpreneurs, those of you that are HR consultants, just trying to make it out here, trying to figure out how to get new business, especially in the COVID-19 environment. If this has been a concern of yours, you definitely want to lock in. This won't be an extremely long video, but I think it's truly going to be critical for how you plan out your business, especially during COVID-19. So if this is your first time watching me, hello again. My name is Hennither Bianca Gant. I help HR professionals take what they know and turn it into profitable side hustles or businesses or HR consulting businesses. So literally I help HR professionals start their own consulting practice. I'll walk them through A to Z, what they need to do to get started. In fact, I have an upcoming group strategy program that's going to be anywhere from about 4 to 6 weeks, just depending on your track. And that's going to be starting on June the 15th, 2020, depending on when you're watching this video. So if you are interested, you want to make sure that you email us at services@career-image.com. We're only opening it up to a few people, depending on your background, because we want to make sure that it's going to be worthwhile, worthwhile for you. So trust me. If you have been in limbo, like, hey, I have this idea, just don't know how to get started, and you feel like you might benefit from working with me, not just one-on-one, but also working with other individuals that want to do the same thing, so you can establish some collaboration, make sure you email us at services@career-image.com. All right, let's get into it, shall we? So listen. COVID-19, especially if you're in HR and you're working, if you're working, you know, you have been knee deep in just different types of things. If you have not been a generalist, you're probably working in a generalist capacity, especially for those of my HR superstars that are like the HR department of one. God bless you. God bless you, my child, because God bless you. I know how it is. I really do, especially because some of our HR consultants on the team and we have to function as HR for our clients, right? So nevertheless, I wanted to share some nuggets with you all that I thought would be really, really critical, because there's a difference between being a good HR professional and a great HR professional. In my opinion, this is my opinion. Can I say it again? It is my opinion. So here's the deal. I do believe that a good HR professional, they are great at what they have been told to do. But I believe that a great HR professional kind of thinks outside of the box in a strategic nature. They're told, if they are told what to do, they do that. But they understand why they're doing it, and they begin to think really entrepreneurially and to figure out different solutions. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, if we do this, how is this going to impact that? How is that going to impact that, right? So I think that great HR professionals do just that. So these tips today are really for those individuals that desire to be great. If you desire to just kind of coast and, nothing wrong with that. There's some people like, listen, Hennither, I only watch you because I'm trying to figure out what my retirement plan is going to be, and I'm just trying to focus on recruitment. I really don't care about these new laws that's coming out with COVID-19. You can go ahead. As a matter of fact, let me skip this video. No problem, right? But if you are desiring to be an HR consultant for other companies, this video is extremely, extremely important, especially if you plan on doing it anytime in the remainder of 2020. So here are the seven top tips that I think are super, super critical for this particular season, right? So here's the first tip. For my HRpreneurs, for those that desire to be an HR consultant, you will need to have emotional intelligence in this season. It's always been a critical thing to have in HR, but let me tell you, I've been on the phone with different companies that are looking. They might already have HR help. They might already have somebody, a HR professional at their company, but that person isn't really, what's the word I'm looking for? they're not really, their engines aren't really all, it's not really running the way that they need it to. So they're like, hey, can we bring you on for additional support, right? So what I am finding is that one of the reasons why there's some companies that don't like their HR people is because their HR folks don't have emotional intelligence. This is super, super critical, because this is the time when people are really high stress. You have your senior leaders that are really high, that are stressed out. You have your employees that are stressed out, and people are saying whatever they want to say out their mouths. It's like, listen, you say it one more time, but listen, if you have emotional intelligence, you can't just go and tell your employee to see you outside. Believe it or not, this just happened to a colleague of mine. Not so this didn't happen to my friend, but my friends. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. But you can't tell the employee to see me. Well, you see me outside. Now, who does that? I get the human side of the human resources. Like, listen, come see me outside. But no, like for real though, we have to have an emotional intelligence. Everybody's just at their wits end, talk about quarantining, talk about every state having different, and not only that, shucks, you all know in HR, I mean, it's bad enough that we have to figure out and monitor the different rules, regulations, and laws by different states. But my goodness, when you talk about different counties, like I'm in Maryland, and we have different rules for Baltimore City than Montgomery County. And then I have clients in DC, have clients in California. It's like, California, don't get me started on California. If you know about California, can you comment below and let us know you know about those California laws, not just as a state, but you have to go and figure out, hey, wait a minute, what county they're in. So again, it just really requires an extra level of emotional intelligence because of the climate that we're in. So be patient. And what I've been telling some of my HR superstars that I work with is like, hey, if you need to, just talk to someone, talk to another HR friend. I had an HR friend call me on the day before yesterday, and she's like, listen, girl, I just needed to let you know what was happening. She said, do you have 10 minutes? I said, I got 10 minutes. I do not have 15. So she was able to tell me what was happening about some employee that lied about being in a hospital and all types of stuff. So if you need to do that, make sure you go and, vet to another HR professional that understands it's not in your company, by the way. That would understand kind of what you're going through. Keep all the names confidential, obviously, but you have to have extra emotional intelligence. If you are easily provoked, easily angered, I am very concerned for you in this season. You have to have extreme flexibility. Extreme flexibility. So hopefully that makes sense. The second hot thing is that you have to know what FFCRA is. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to. I'm like, hey, listen, what do you think about the FFCRA? Blah blah blah. Oh, wait a minute. I know that I haven't really researched it. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you all something, especially for those of you that are going to be working, all of my HRpreneurs, all of my HR consultants that want to have small businesses as your clients, whether it's 100 employees or less, 500, it does not. I'm telling you, if the company is going to have employees, you need to know what FFCRA is. I'm purposely not going to tell you on here. Not only do you need to know what it is, but you need to be following the timelines that's associated to that. That's going to be super critical. You're not going to be able to do anything with an employer in 2020 and not know what FFCRA is. And you might say, well, what if I'm like a specialty? What if I only specialize in this? What if I only specialize in benefits? You still need to know FFCRA. Trust me, it's one of those things that's impacting everything, right? And it's supposed to have an expiration date of December of this year, but I guarantee you it's probably going to extend into 2021. So you cannot be effective. You cannot be a great HR professional, a great HR consultant in COVID-19 without, again, number one was emotional intelligence, but number two is knowing what FFCRA is. I know. We don't need another acronym in HR, but listen, that's the story of our lives. And I really encourage you that if you are getting annoyed with the ongoing learning, HR might not it just might not be for you. Really, I mean, because the day and age that we're living in, I guarantee you we're gonna have so many more. I mean, you have to know what PPP is, right? I didn't even put that on my list, especially if you're supporting small businesses. You need to know what PPP, like, because the PPP is affecting the people that were laid off. You have to call people back, so you won't even understand what the heck I'm talking about if you don't know this basic thing of FFCRA. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's go on to tip number 3. All right, so virtual recruitment. Let me tell you. So it really annoys me when I come across people that are professionals in recruitment, but they don't know the basics of HR compliance. Like, they're like, oh, this person is great. And they think that it's enough to just fill a position. And again, that's good, right? Because the supervisor, department chair, whoever said, hey, I need to fill this position. Let me fill this position. But from a senior strategic perspective, I hope that whoever is recruiting understands the legalities behind recruitment, the legalities around the questions that they're asking, the legalities around and just the moral compass, right, of recruiters that don't call people back, or that, leave people hanging. They don't even contact them. It's been 60 days. The applicant doesn't even know where they stand, right? So that is my big bone of contention with that, because everybody's a recruiter. And I don't mean that to be shady at all, but I'm just saying most people who have some type of HR function has been in recruitment. That's how I definitely, that's not how I got started, but it's always been a function of mine. But now in COVID-19, virtual recruitment is super, super critical, because you have some employers that they're not going to be reopening, meaning their physical locations. So you have to figure out, you have to know how to hire in a completely virtual capacity. Now, you might have been used to it up until the point of phone screening, but I'm talking about all the way through right before onboarding, right? What are the tools? What are the processes that you're going to implement, that you're going to put in place? We've come across some really good software to assist us and our clients with that. But again, even if your employer or your clients don't have access to those types of, doesn't really have a budget for that, there's some things that you can do on a really basic level to really support your clients with that. So again, virtual recruitment is number 3. Then the next thing is, obviously, that you need to know as a top hot skill in COVID-19 as an HRpreneur is virtual onboarding. Virtual onboarding is completely key. Because again, if you are just used to, oh, I have to, oh, I'm great at training. And again, I'm one of those HR geeks, right? So like, I'm very specific, like, onboarding is not necessarily training, right? I know some people would disagree with me, but virtual onboarding, you want to make sure that you are competent in that, because if the company that you're supporting, if your client is hiring, you need to make sure, like, hey, how do we do this new hire orientation? How do we figure out their what happens if this person doesn't have a laptop, right? And then going back to virtual recruitment, what questions do we need to change now if we're just working in a virtual environment? What if we come back to the office in 2021? What type of things do we need to kind of incorporate that? How are we going to do our I-9s now? You all get the point. You all get the gist. So virtual onboarding is a key thing. And hopefully, if you are picking up what I'm putting down, these are also very critical areas that you could be using to promote services that you could be offering. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down, that you could be offering in COVID-19. So anyway, virtual onboarding. Next thing is OSHA compliance. if you by any chance maybe forwarded this video and you're like, hey, what is this girl talking about? Again, I would like to introduce you to me. I am Hennither again, and I help HR professionals turn their HR skills into profitable side hustles and businesses. So if you are interested in working one-on-one with me or working in a group capacity, make sure you email us at services@career-image.com, especially ask about our upcoming group strategy program that's going to be from 4 to 6 weeks, and that is starting on June 15th, 2020. So the next hot skill is OSHA compliance. OSHA. Listen, I knew about OSHA. I knew what the basics, right? But the reality is I wouldn't have proclaimed to be an OSHA expert. Listen, you better know OSHA. You better know OSHA. I'm telling you, OSHA better be your best friend, okay? Especially if you are going to be supporting clients that are going to be opening or have already opened and their staff is in a physical location. That's a huge thing. I'm telling you, I never really paid attention to OSHA as much as I did now, because I'm kind of half and half. Like some of our clients, again, they were non-essential. So unfortunately, they had to temporarily suspend our HR outsourcing services for them. But over the last week, because of different states saying different things, they're able to open it in a certain capacity. So as a result, it's kind of like half and half now. We have some clients that are like, hey, I'm ready to rock and roll. What can I do legally? You have to know what they can do. Like that you have to really know. You have to know. So OSHA. And then we have our number 6 hot tip. Number 6 is ADA compliance, right? I know you all were thinking, my HR pros are like, you better say ADA. Yes. And listen, you better, EEOC better be your best friend too. How about it? Right? So, because they are all married together. What does EEOC say now? I mean, just, oh, have mercy. It's just a lot to keep up with, but it's exciting, especially if you're HR geek. So ADA compliance is completely super critical as well for you to know as a top hot skill in COVID-19. And then tip number 7 is having an entrepreneurial spirit. Listen, if you've watched any of my videos, one of my biggest things that I like to stress is that I like working with people who are called to HR, right? And then secondly, especially if I'm helping, like doing some individual strategy sessions, I like people that have called to start an HR business, because it just makes a difference. Because if you are not called to something, your IQ level, and I don't mean intelligence, your IQ level will be completely washed out as soon as a client tells you no, they want to cancel a contract or whatever. You're like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, or, and you have to have that entrepreneurial spirit. And for me, I mean, there's so many different definitions, but for me, it means that you have a hunger. It means that like you're not always excited, but it's like you roll your sleeves of like, hey, how can I get it done attitude. I'm going to pay for whatever I need to pay for to make sure I get access to information to take me to the next level. What do I need to do to support? What do I need to do to become on my A game, right? So that's that entrepreneurial spirit. Entrepreneurs don't wait for someone to tell them what to do. Entrepreneurs create what the next thing is that they're going to do. So that entrepreneurial spirit is super critical, especially in COVID-19, because we have to listen. There's nothing wrong with waiting on the governor's decision. I know everyone's like, oh, it just kind of depends on what the governor says. But I mean, for those of you all that are watching that are believers, we have to tap into what, you hear me doing all of this in my hand? I'm getting passionate, y'all. But we have to tap into what God is saying. What's God's wisdom, right? What is he saying that we need to be prepared for, right? And once you tap, I'm telling you, that's my secret weapon. My secret weapon is the Holy Spirit. Facts, period, full stop, right? That's my secret weapon. I'm serious. I acknowledge him in every part of the business. I remember when I did not do that because I was so bad and frustrated. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know where the money coming from. And then when I'm like, wait a minute, I pray about everything else. Why wouldn't I pray about this? Why wouldn't I wait for an answer about this? So again, that entrepreneurial spirit, really, really, really tap into what God says about your company, tapping into what God says the next thing is truly one of the keys, that you stay fresh, that you stay having a entrepreneurial spirit, so that way you can be relevant to your client, so you can be relevant to the marketplace, so that way you can stand up even in the midst of your competition. So those are, again, the 7 hot skills that I think that every HRpreneur needs to have amidst COVID-19. I'll wrap them up once again for you. So the first one was emotional intelligence. Second is FFCRA, better know what you're talking about. Virtual recruitment, virtual onboarding, OSHA compliance, ADA compliance, and an entrepreneurial spirit. Entrepreneurial spirit. Thank you all so much for watching. If any of this made sense, if there's a piece of this, you're like, hey, I really need to work on this, why don't you go ahead and comment below? Let me know what your thoughts are about this. Let me know what other skills, again, I'm sure we can add on to this list, but let me know what other skills would you add on that you would say is really important for you to know in the COVID-19 environment as an HRpreneur. So again, thank you all so much for watching. If you are, in fact, again, interested in working with me and my team, I'm going to be bringing in some other HR folks, so I'm really, really excited about it. Make sure you email us at services@career-image.com. Again, that's services@career-image.com. We are having a program. It's a group program. It's not one-on-one. I am offering one-on-one sessions if you're interested in that, but I am offering a group strategy session June the 15th. So as you can tell, depending on when you're watching this, the window, we have a window, but the window is not going to be that long, right? So if you're interested, you want to be first on that list, make sure you email us at services@career-image.com. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, don't forget to command your day.